Hello friends, coming back at you with another part of DIY depression, aiding for oneself, guerrilla style, from the inner me coming at you. Mood today when I woke up, depressed, low, not good, low energy. Mood now, about 4 hours later, I'm probably at about maybe 73% up, with a little bit of fogginess still going on there. That's a part of my cognitive ability that some people might want to take advantage of. If I'm looking a little dopey, boo, I'm dopey. Hello, ding dong, there's someone at the door. Hello, can I help you? Does that remind you of someone? Part 2 here. Things you can do for yourself to relieve depression. Not make it go away, because it's not ever going to go away. It's always going to be there if it's 1%, 2%, or 1,000%. This is for life. There's not really any escaping that. And to have a little side note here on acceptance of that, which I'll do a video on later on. You know, accepting that you have mood swings for your whole life is something that's a war in itself. And it might take years for you to get to that point where you say, all right, well, I'm not going to get out of this. So, all right. In the last video, I was talking about manipulating certain electrolytes, certain foods. In this video, I will talk about some other things. I'll start off with carbohydrates. If you are an average American, you probably eat more than the average bear. You're probably putting more food and liquids inside your tummy than someone in, say, Ethiopia right now. Most of that is going to be carbohydrates. I mean, we jam all kinds of stuff down our holes. Carbohydrate-wise, you're eating potatoes, you're drinking liquids that have sugars and everything else. Well, that's loading up your cells, and then you're going to end up with more glycogen inside your cells, and that's pretty much your body's way of storing carbohydrates, so that way you have glucose readily available in your muscles and in your brain and in your organs, so that way you have a backup, a storage, so you could go 48 hours without eating glucose, and your body will start to partition that from the glycogen, and it will go to your brain, and it'll go to this, and it'll go to that. And then when you run out of this, then you'll go into this thing called ketosis, and that's when you'll start to have fruity breath, and you'll have foggy brain, and then you'll go over the hump into a euphoric feeling. So if you've ever read anything about keto diets, or people that eat eggs and beef for breakfast with lettuce, and that's really all they have all day, and maybe some eggs or and they'll sit there and eat 3 sticks of butter or some wild thing. They're avoiding the carbohydrates, which is the rice, the potatoes, whatever. This is for the people that don't know what a carbohydrate is. I didn't know technically what a carbohydrate was until I was 25, 26. So same with proteins and all that. I wasn't really savvy to this until I was after the age of 25. So when you have something going for yourself from the last video that I'm talking about, where I'm talking about electrolytes, well, that does have to do with glucose, and that does have to do with glycogen. For every gram of glycogen in your body, that's 3 grams of water. So your water weight going up. So this is also going to be a genetic thing where some people might hold less water than other people. Some people might hold 3 or 4 times more water than other people. So if you are having a couple of days where you didn't eat as much, and your face is not as puffy, and your stomach isn't as bloated, and your legs have gone down, and your arms have gone down, and you're weighing yourself and you're a good 10 pounds less, and you're thinking that you've lost fat, not really, you've lost water. Self-evident, whenever I bring my carbohydrates down, my moods will go for the better. And I also feel better. And it's also a healthy thing to do, to remove or reduce carbohydrates from time to time, especially when you're not feeling too good, or if you've been eating quite a bit of food and you are still lacking energy. Well, you've probably been eating too many carbohydrates, and you're probably in your cellular functioning is not rocking and rolling the way it would be if you were to bring those calories down. But I'll point that out, calories also too. Not only carbohydrates, also calories. For 24 hours generally is a pretty good thing. It's just to eat very little one day. Some people, they like fasting. Me personally, I'd rather keep things going, and I just eat less. And then on the second day, I'll eat maybe a third more, and then the third day, a half, 50% more than I would have on that first day. And then generally by this time, I'm drained and I'm needing to eat a little bit more. Well, you'll notice, as I have noticed, and there's many people that will attest to this on forums and on Reddit and wherever else you can find it. Well, they will discuss themselves that they feel better. And this is not only for people that have mood swings or depression. This is for really almost everyone. So you'd say, okay, well, I'll just do the keto diet forever and everything will be okay. No, that's not the way it ever goes for me. I've done keto diet for weeks and weeks, and then I start to get really fat. So, and the depression will come on really bad, for the reason of my metabolism has slowed down so much. And that's the thing about carbohydrates. It keeps your metabolism up. It keeps your brain going. It keeps your body going. It keeps your everything going. As soon as you take that away, well, then your metabolism is going to start going down. Your thyroid's going to go down. Everything's going to go down to the point where your body's barely chugging along. Sure, you can survive this way. It's not ideal for carrying on as a human in this society, at least. We're not all keto people. So that's a pretty big other thing that you can do for mood swings, for health, basically. You know, day in, day out, you're drinking soda pop and you're eating Jimmy Dean sausage and you're you're taking in a lot of saturated fats and you're taking in a lot of carbohydrates, your insulin resistance is going to go up. This is your cellular uptake of nutrients. And once that starts to flatline, once that starts to go out, you're going to have a multitude of issues. And also, too, you're going to have blood sugar issues. And it's insulin resistance isn't diabetes. It can get to a pre-diabetic situation, and then eventually, possibly, depending on your genes, diabetic, type 2 diabetic. So butter, eating a lot of butter, eating a lot of really anything that can transform to a saturated fat. So if you're eating a lot of proteins, that will also turn into saturated fat, because your body's only going to use so many amino acids, and then it will turn it into saturated fat. Your body's only going to use so much butter, saturated fat. A lot of it will go to your liver. Butters and short chain triglycerides, a lot of that's going to go to your liver. A lot of palm oils, such as McDonald's French fries. You got to look at the ingredients. If it says palm oil or some kind of tropical oil, and a medium chain triglycerides, something along coconut oils, those are all going to go to your liver, and that's going to cause some issues. And the more issues that you have with your body, the more of what I've read is there's the markers, the protein markers in your body that send the signal to your brain that there's an issue, and that increases depression and the wanting to eliminate yourself, which is kind of deep. If you think about the creators making humans, and there's going to be some kind of self-destruct, if there's an issue there, then the human takes themselves out. What was the exact name of that protein marker off the top of my head? I do not remember it. You can find it. It's there. It's online. Got to look deep. Got to look into the research papers and the lab papers. Yes, this all has to do with depression, and this does have to do with mood swings. There's more to it than just one thing, of course. So the different angles of that protein marker that's going up to your brain, sending the signal that there's an issue, is one case. And then the electrolyte situation, where there's the gumming up, the blocking of the brain. And now I'll go on to another thing, alcohol. Alcohol is another thing that can bring me out of depression. A lot of you will probably be able to relate with this. And I would like to stress the social portion of the social aspect of alcoholism. Extreme alcoholism is shunned by society because it's not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for people around you. And there's one thing I wanted to point out was the glutamic acid and the GABA, the molecular things going on inside of your brain that your body is producing. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. GABA is the relaxing, going to sleep. And my father, as my mother would say, is that my father has night depression. He has night depression. He gets depressed at night. Well, that's interesting, because your GABA will start to increase. And then you're getting drowsy, and then you say, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed. And then that glutamic acid's going to come on when you wake up. It should. And if you drink alcohol, that increases your GABA. You are relaxing yourself. You're doing something to relax yourself, whatever kind of mood you're in. And then you take stimulants to get up. And that's going to have something to do with glutamic acid production inside your brain. A lot of it has to do with the route of adrenaline and epinephrine inside of your brain. These are different pathways for your body to go through the movement of what you're going to be going and doing throughout the day, and then you're going to go to sleep, and then you're going to wake up, and then there's going to be fight or flight, there's going to be adrenaline, there's going to be things that get you going, there's going to be things that are going to bring you down. So people with mood swings obviously have issues with these things inside of their brains. Their brains are not regulating these things properly. Especially if you are having rapid mood swings, rapid cycling, rapid crying one moment, thinking sexually, thinking, and then crying, and then thinking that you need to save humans, and then thinking that humans can go to hell. This is rapid cycling, mood-wise, personality-wise. And then there's more cut down the middle. You're basically the same old Joe or Sally, and you are having a down day or you're having an up day. And you can identify with yourself much more clear and clean than someone that I was previously describing. So when you go to that alcohol, which I drink, when you go to that alcohol for that relaxation, you're also clearing out the electrolytes inside of your brain, which it is a dehydrator. There's dehydration going there, which you know, because you've waken up hungover as hell. Where's the water? You know it. So there's a relationship between taking the carbs out and drinking alcohol, because if you've ever done a keto diet and you drank some alcohol and you maybe had 2 beers and you're hungover as hell the next day, you say, whoa, that really got me. Well, first of all, you're dehydrated. You don't really have a whole lot going on inside of your body, and you're having more alcohols flooding your system, and you have less cellular functioning. You also, too, you have less of that thyroid, and you have less of that metabolism going on. Your body didn't metabolize the alcohol as much as it would have when it was chocked up full of M&Ms or whatever that you've been eating for 5 days. Another thing is exercise consistently. So 7 days a week, you're maybe exercising 3 times a week or 4 times a week. That would be somewhat consistent. It depends on how much you banged your body up during this time. And we go back to the stress thing, the stress marker, so you're not really going to want to ever do any kind of exercise that beats you up. This is going to be specific, tailored to mood swing people or people that get depressed. If you've ever injured yourself severely and you were ultra depressed during your recovery time, you might be able to identify what I'm talking about with that. A lot of psychologists will talk to you about stress management, they'll talk about this with anxiety, they'll talk about this with mood swings, they'll talk about this with depression, they'll talk about stress management, they'll talk about meditating, which I won't talk about. They'll talk to you about getting more rest, getting more sleep, that you will need more sleep than most people, and then you have to manage not oversleeping personally. That's another thing too I could bring up, is that when I sleep 12 hours, a lot of times I'll be gloomy for a good 5 hours or so because I've been producing more GABA to sleep that many hours. So somewhat regulating your sleep and getting out of bed is another tip. especially if you are not really needing that sleep. You're rested and everything's cool. You're sleeping and sleeping and sleeping and sleeping and dreaming nightmares or whatever. That's a tip. Then you'll have less GABA coming on. And then since we're having issues with our brains are not regulating these parts inside of our brains properly. So similar to surfing, how if you lean a little bit to this side or you lean a little bit to that side, you're going to fall off your board. The wave's going to take you. So every day, all of these things that I'm discussing, drinking alcohol or drinking too much alcohol, then you're going to have too much GABA inside of your brain. You're going to have more depression, or it's going to seem more depressed. You're going to be very tired. You're going to have low energy. Another thing is stimulants. So anytime you're using any kind of stimulants, these things can get you out of a slump. If you use too much of them, then you are going to be depleting your adrenal gland. You're going to be depleting your hormone, or you're going to be depleting the epinephrine inside of your brain, or overstimulating your brain to where there's actual exhaustion. A nervous system exhaustion as well. And I'll tell you that I use stimulants, not anything off the street. I use the stimulants from the store, which might even be better than what you could get off of the street. They wouldn't want you to know that, though. I'm not going to go into specifics on which ones I use. Look at the backs of them. Get to know them. A lot of times to go to sleep, I will use antihistamines, which can be pretty far out. Different kinds of antihistamines. For example, I don't dig Benadryl. It's not one of my favorites. I'd say probably 90% of the time of my going to bed, I take antihistamines to go to sleep. If I do not use them, I do not go to sleep. My father does the same thing. Every night he takes 3 Benadryls before bed, because he doesn't care. He's a wild man, and he pops these things in his mouth, and it knocks him out. And somehow in hell he gets his ass up out of bed every day. I don't know how he does it. If I took 3 Benadryl, I would be done for. I wouldn't be waking up. So there's a difference between different brains, man. Yeah, a lot of it does have to do with self-identifying, with feeling it out. So that's part 2. Possibly I'll do a part 3. Or another video similar. I don't know how many people out there that would share what they know about any of this kind of stuff. I think a lot of people, they hide it inside because they think that they're going to make a book or something someday. And they think they're going to make money off of it. Well, I'd like to point out that it's a very small demographic, first of all, that would even consider any of this kind of stuff. Because you also have to keep in mind that 90% of the people are robotic brains, so they're going to go for what everyone else is going for. So the general public goes to the psychologist, they go to the psychiatrist, which, if that's what you do, that's I'm not saying anything about that. Still, how many people are going to read your book about your amazing things that you have discovered along your bipolar way or BPD way? I encourage you to come on and share it. Because if all of us come out and share what we know or what we can give to the other, then there will be return. Then there's this trade system of people caring for each other actually, and not actually thinking that they're going to make a penny off of their experience. I don't want a penny for any of this stuff. I don't want a half penny for any of this stuff. I want to help out others, and as I've already said, the trade system comes back to you. If anyone even has any kind of information other than simply going by the road system of, okay, well, this is what you need to do. You're maybe 18, you go cry to your parents, I don't feel very good, my brain doesn't feel good, and your parents are sitting there looking at you, I don't know what to do for this person. Call the 1-800 I Want to Live number. Just go do this and they'll take care of you. And then you're sitting there saying to yourself, well, fuck. my parents don't know what to do for me. Well, first, they don't have any experience in it, probably. If they don't have, if the genes skipped them to you or whatever. Also, too, it's a drag for them because they have their kid coming up to them crying, oh, I don't know what's the matter with me. I don't feel very good, and life is shit, and I want to die. What am I doing here? The parents are going to be sitting there saying to themselves, oh, man, I truly do not know what the hell to say to this person right now. I really do not. That kind of been the way it was with my parents. I might be revealing that to you here. I said, we don't know what to do with this person here. Go to the mainstream system and take care of yourself. If that is what you do, and that's taking care of you, then great. And then when you're out of that chair and you leave their office, then you still got to go out and you got to live with yourself. And all those things that are going through your head and all those things that are going through your body and any kind of reactions that you're having to depression, slumps in life. Are they out of that office and they're in your room with you, with their arm around you, telling you, yeah, okay, all right, I understand. Oh, you're down right now. Here's a couple $100 here for you. Take care of you. No, man. They're there with their hand out to take that. They're there with their hands out to take that. After you've come to them. They're not ever going to be coming to you. And it's not a social system. It's not a communal system. It's not a social system. It's a capital system. So yeah, we do have to do things for ourselves. And there's all kinds of little tricks we have, and there's little things that we can do. And there's plenty more that I could share. I have to go one by one and not go all over the place here on you. So that way it can be of some good to you, some use to you, so that way you can maybe write some of them down or think about it a little bit. Not be too overwhelmed by too many things that I might say to you. This is also April, and this is right around the time where people can get very depressed during this time, and possibly having to do with histamines. This is allergy season. So if you're pretty low right now, reach out to me, say hi. I welcome you to be my friend, to be friends with each other, and to be friends all around with each other, and to share and care, and love one another, because we are a community. It's a very small community. And if you're ever on the outs with other people, you always know that you can come to me, and I'll be there. I might not be completely all there for you, I'm here. As long as my heart is beating. So, on the next video, I will probably talk about acceptance. Possibly. Maybe something else. I'd like to, though. I'd like to talk about acceptance. So you have yourself a lovely night, morning, afternoon. And feel free to comment. And feel free to discuss, really, if you have anything that you want to talk about at all. Go ahead and send it on through. And I'll comment back as soon as I'm all there to get back to you on that. So you have yourself a very nice day or night.